today's episode of Candid Kaya. Today I am here with Lacey and we are going to talk about how to become an engineer. Stay tuned, it's all coming up next. So hello Lacey.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking. Let's start with letting the viewers know a little bit about yourself.
All right, so I'm Lacey Reddix. I'm originally from Jackson, Mississippi. I'm 27 years old. I went to Spelman College and Columbia University. I did the dual degree program at Spelman, majored in mathematics and civil engineering. I currently work for the City of Atlanta, Department of Watershed Management, Office of Engineering Services.
All right. So basically you're an engineer.
Yes.
So what inspired you to become an engineer?
You know, this is a very interesting story, and because this is Candid Kaya, I'm going to be completely candid.
Okay.
I started out, and when I was in high school, I didn't know any engineers. My definition of success was either a doctor or a lawyer. And when I was applying to Spelman, I knew that I needed a scholarship to go. And one of the scholarships that I applied for was the YSTEM scholarship. And in order to get the YSTEM scholarship, you had to agree to do the engineering program.
Okay.
And originally I was going to just major in mathematics and go to law school. That was my big plan. And because of the scholarship, I had to consider the possibility of going to an engineering school. And so I thought it over, and at first I was like, no, I don't know if I want to do this. And my dad was like, no, you should really consider this. And at the time, I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do, so it made sense for me to agree to the program, and then if I didn't want to do it, I could always say no. So I originally said yes, thinking I was going to either not do it, or if I got my engineering degree, maybe I could be a patent lawyer, because in order to be a patent lawyer, you had to have an engineering degree anyway.
Right.
And then I just kind of fell in love with it. I actually started really liking it, and I liked the work that I was doing. I liked the summer internships I was getting because I was in the engineering program. So it kind of worked out. But I honestly, when I first started it, I did engineering for very superficial reasons, and it was because there was a scholarship attached to doing the engineering program.
And it worked out.
Yeah,
so you mentioned you were going to do mathematics, so you already liked numbers.
Yeah, and honestly, the two classes that I really liked in school were math and physics.
Okay.
And even not knowing anything about engineering, it was just, it made sense for me to go into engineering because those are the two classes that kind of make up all of your engineering classes.
Right.
Your coursework. So yeah, it just kind of worked out that way.
Well, Candid Kaya fact, for about a week, I was an engineering major too.
Oh,
But then I switched. So you mentioned you did civil engineering.
Yes, I did.
So out of all the different types of engineering, tell us a little bit about some of them and why did you choose that one?
Okay, so the major six, I would say, are chemical engineering, electrical engineering, biomedical engineering, industrial engineering, mechanical engineering, and civil engineering.
Okay.
And they're all very different. Oh, and computer science. Did I just say computer engineering? So there's seven. And out of all of those, I'll just stick with civil. Civil is the oldest engineering major, and it also deals a lot with buildings and creating buildings, and what goes into creating infrastructure that's needed for cities. And for me, I just really like the idea of being able to create something that would be there for generations. Like I thought about the Colosseum in Rome, or the Leaning Tower of Pisa, or all of these like different kind of monuments that have been around for thousands of years. And I thought about the idea of being part of a project that would last longer than my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of why I was attracted to civil engineering, because I felt like I would be doing work that my kids and my kids' kids could see. So that's kind of why I decided on civil engineering as opposed to the other majors. But I mean, all of them have their pros and I guess their cons as well. I mean, computer science I think was another one that I really thought about because of all the opportunities.
Right.
If you get into computer science, if you get into computer engineering, like the opportunities are endless, and that whole field is very new, and there's a lot of opportunities that come with being in a new field.
Right. So Lacey, what qualities make a good engineer?
So I would have to say, one, being really good at math. I mean, having a knack for numbers helps, but also two, going back to the whole physics thing, understanding physics. So for me, I liked physics more so in school than I did biology and chemistry, and it just made sense for me. And I think people who understand, what goes up must come down, the law of inertia, like all of Newton's laws, if they have a knack for that kind of science, they'll probably really like engineering courses, especially those related to mechanical engineering or civil engineering, or even electrical engineering, which I didn't have a lot of courses in, but I mean, they're all kind of built on those same kind of principles.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Of course, different institutions have different routes of becoming an engineer. So tell us a little bit about the different options you have when you attend these institutions.
So I would say the biggest difference is going to a liberal arts college versus going to a traditional engineering school. And so at a traditional engineering school, you usually have the engineering major from the very beginning. And you can do that major in 4 years. It does take people sometimes longer to do it. So 5 years is typical. But if you're in a liberal arts college, you have the opportunity to not only get your liberal arts education, which is what I did, and get a liberal arts degree, which is what I did as well, in 3 years, but you also have that option. A lot of those liberal arts colleges have partnerships with engineering schools where they can go to the liberal arts college for 3 years and then go to an engineering school for 2 years and get the best of both worlds. It's hard, but I think it's worth it too.
All right, so now I want to get into the whole role of being the engineer. You've now accomplished that goal of getting 2 degrees, and now it's time to work.
Yeah, that's so true.
Right. So tell us a little bit about your first job as an engineer.
Okay. So my first job was in California. I worked for Hensel Phelps, which was a great company. We did commercial building construction management, and a lot of people that I worked with were either civil engineering majors or construction management majors, or majoring in construction management. And so one of the biggest things that we had to learn as young engineers is how to read plans. And again, I'm a civil engineer. So we learned how to read structural engineering drawings as well as architectural drawings. And that was important because you have to build whatever these plans show. And not every engineer or architect shows what they show on the drawings doesn't necessarily mean that it's buildable. So understanding like what should be there that's not there, what's there that requires more work than was initially anticipated. How do you schedule a project based off of those drawings? How do you price a project based off of those drawings? Those are very critical lessons that once you learn that, you can really do a lot more. And you can be valuable to not only the company that you're working for, but when you leave that company and you go to work for the government or you go to work for another consulting firm, you have that skill set so that you can bring some value to their firm.
All right. So, as a Black woman, do you feel that your experience has been different in any way?
I think it's yes and no. One, I feel like as long as you're a good engineer, that's like the most important thing. What you bring to the job is you as a worker and your knowledge and your skill set and your ability to get things done. But as a Black woman, because there's a lack of diversity in engineering and in the tech-related fields, you are an asset. They want to see more. They want to highlight the fact that they have a Black woman working in these jobs. So by you being a good worker first, and then being a Black woman, you're such a bigger asset to their firm or to the company than you would have been if you were just a white male, I guess.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So.
All right. So let's see. Was there ever a time so far while you've been working that you've ever doubted why you became an engineer?
Yes. Yes. I mean, it comes and goes. It really does. Because there's some times where you feel like, this is hard. There's some times where you feel like, why did I get into this? Is this really what I want to do? Do I really care about concrete this much? Rebar? Do I really have a love for rebar? Is that something that I just love to do, love to be around? But I think that's normal. Like understanding that you're not going to be in love with the job 100% of the time. And you'll always have projects that you're not 100% into or you want to do. I built a prison. That was the third project that I ever built when I was first starting working out. And I remember feeling like I don't want to do this. And you don't have to. I mean, there are other jobs out there that don't require you to build prison. But for me, that was an opportunity to also learn. I learned a lot from that job. So get what you can out of the assignments that you're given. And if you don't like something or something is making you chronically unhappy, figure out what's next. I mean, one thing about having an engineering degree is that you are an asset no matter where you go. You don't have to work for one company the rest of your life. Like, people need engineers everywhere. So figure out what opportunity fits the best for you, and then go after those opportunities.
All right, thank you. That leads into my next question, actually.
Mhm.
I just want to know what options are out there for those with engineering backgrounds who do not want to pursue engineering per se.
So that's a great question. So I think there's a lot of different things. You can do consulting.
Okay.
There's a lot of consulting firms that hire engineers. There's a lot of people who want who go into business. So if you want to do construction as opposed to design, you can do that. I work in government now. There's a lot of opportunities within municipal government, state level government, and federal government for engineers. If you want to go into tech related fields, you can do that. I mean, really, the sky's the limit. You don't have to stick to a particular company that builds buildings or builds bridges. A lot of people associate civil engineers with building bridges, and I have yet to build a bridge yet. But I've done a lot of other projects, infrastructure related projects, as well as buildings, which I love. I love building buildings. That's kind of my passion.
So, Lacey, now I want to get just a little bit of your advice. What are your 3 tips to success for aspiring engineers?
I would say one, or the first tip, is to get your professional engineering license as soon as possible. I've waited, and I wish I would have gone straight out of school to take my EIT and engineering and training exam, and then from there gone straight to work, and then studied for my professional engineering license exam so that I could have my PE now. By waiting, one, you're out of school, so it takes forever to relearn everything
Right.
that you already learned in school to take that exam again. And then also, by having that PE, you have so many more doors open up for you. And this is specifically for people who are majoring in civil engineering, but also mechanical engineering and electrical engineering.
Okay.
So 2, or the second thing, would be make sure that you understand how to manage your time. Time management is the most critical piece to getting through a rigorous engineering course load or engineering program while you're in undergrad, or if you go for your master's program as well. Understanding how to manage your time is vital to succeeding, period. And then 3rd, I would say making sure that you get as many internship opportunities as possible. So I started with my first internship right after my freshman year of college, and it was very, very important for me to understand what does it look like to have a job in engineering. And then from there, I could start looking for opportunities that better align with what I actually want to do. But I think it's first important to just get the experience, because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So yeah, I would say that.
Amen. All right. So, next piece of advice. What is your best tip for those who are still on the verge of deciding if engineering is the right path for them?
It really goes back to, what do you like to do? Like, whatever you're going to do for the rest of your life, understand what brings you joy, what brings you passion. And engineering as a whole will never limit you. It's a skill that you can learn, and if you decide you don't want to ever be an engineer again, you have that skill set. It does not limit you to do whatever it is that's going to be for you in the future. But learn as soon as you possibly can what it is that you want to do. And engineering is so broad that you could be an engineer in almost any field. So if you like chemistry, you can do chemical engineering. If you like buildings, like I do, you can do civil engineering. If you like gadgets, you can do mechanical engineering or electrical engineering. If you like working on computers, you can do computer science and computer engineering. There's so many different fields out there that you don't have to feel limited to say, because I don't like X, Y, and Z, I can't be an engineer.
Right.
So yeah, that's just see what's out there and see what best fits you.
Perfect. All right. So that concludes today's interview. Everyone, if you have questions or comments for Lacey, our engineer, just leave them below and we'll make sure that they get answered. So we want to give kudos to Lacey for being just a strong Black woman engineer representing for all of us in the tech world out there. So we thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.